So there was a time in my career where I almost made a decision that cost a soldier dearly, but I didn't make the decision, and I'm going to explain to you what happened. So here's the problem set. I'm in Korea. I'm a brand new platoon sergeant, and I have a gunner. And we're just going to call him Sergeant G. Great guy. We're not going to spend that much time together because he's scheduled to go back to the States, go to a different unit. And maybe around 2 or 3 months, I'm getting a new gunner in, and so we can start training up, and so we can start going to gunnery. And I had noticed that his behavior was kind of erratic, and he started acting really disengaged. And just built this whole entire story. Oh, he's just a short timer. He's leaving Korea. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be here anymore. That was my belief. That's nothing more than information. I don't have any knowledge, no facts to confirm my belief. And I am literally getting ready to execute on my assumptions, which is just a totally wrong thing to do. So what I ended up doing was inside my head, I'm running through this process. I'm already starting to transition this individual outside of the platoon. He's not a team player, but then I stopped. And I finally sat down and I asked him, I said, "Hey, G," I said, "what's going on, man?" I said, "You're acting a little bit strange. You're acting disengaged." And he drops his head and he looks at me and he says, you're not gonna buy along because I made my soldiers literally plan out their weeks. I plan out their leaves rather than having last minute things. And everybody knew if they wanted to take a pass or they wanted to take leave, they had to approach me at least 2 weeks prior so that I could manage the human resources inside of the platoon or inside of our unit based upon our given missions. And that's the very important thing about a leader is that you've got to be able to have that foresight, know what the organization's mission is, and look at the resources that you have on hand saying, I can execute here, here, here. That's managing the resources inside of the platoon. And so I looked at him, I said, "Man, just give it to me raw." I said, "Just tell me what it is." And he's like, "I've got to go to the embassy down in Seoul." And I'm like, "What do you need to go down to the embassy in Seoul about?" And he's like, "Well, I'm going through the naturalization process." And so I had to go back and I had to look at myself. I had to look at the behaviors that I was exhibiting and was I approachable as a leader. I'm coming off of 3 years on the trail at Fort Knox, Kentucky. I'm locked in Korea for 18 months. And so my mindset is work, 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 work. And I really didn't have a great personality. I had a sergeant major tell me once that I lacked empathy. I had no idea what empathy was. I didn't learn that until later on. It was just a machine, just grinding out the process. But the decision that I made based upon that I was going to make based upon my beliefs and my assumptions was going to cost Sergeant G real. So I said, "Hey, man," I said, "that's a serious thing that you're getting ready to do. I have somebody close to me that went through the naturalization process, and that's a huge thing with becoming an American citizen. That's the whole entire reason of joining the Army is so that we can get, America strong again. And I'm a firm believer in that." And so I said, "Hey, man, where's your plan?" And what did he know? He handed out like a document on an itinerary on dates and times and everything that he had to do. So he was putting in the work. I grabbed it. I said, "I got you." I went and saw the first sergeant. It gives me goosebumps thinking about this. I'm like, "Hey, Top, this is what's going on. Here's the plan of action." Sergeant G's already planned it out. He's like, "Hey, let's go see the CO." We went and saw the CO. Now, he has to leave country and he has to go to Hawaii for this naturalization thing. So we went and saw the battalion commander. Battalion commander looks at it and he was like, "Hey, planned out. You're good to go. No questions asked." I mean, literally within 3 hours, we had confirmed his leave and everything. I said, "Hey, let's head up to the orderly room. Let's do the leave. Let's get it all together." And we got him off. Long story short, he went to Hawaii for a week, had a blast, became an American citizen. God bless America, right? So, what was my main lesson? Don't execute on something unless you have all of the facts. And when you see abnormal behavior that's inconsistent with one of your employees, Seek the evidence, ask the hard questions, say, hey, what's going on? It may not be inside of the workplace, it may be something outside the workplace, and they're just looking for a trusted agent that they can talk to. The second incident that happened, I had a tank commander. Same similar type of behaviors, but I learned from the first time, and I said, hey, come over here, man. I said, holler at me for a sec. I said, what's going on? And he's like, I got to go down to the embassy and I need to go to Seoul. I'm like, what is up with the embassy down in Seoul? I'm like, what is going on with my platoon? I said, what's going on, brother? And he's like, well, my fiance's flying over and we're going to get married down in the embassy. No problem. I got you squared away. What do you need? What's your plan? What's your itinerary? Boom. Once again, hands me a document, whole entire timeline. I go see the first sergeant. First sergeant thought that was the coolest thing in the world. He was like, what does he need? I'm like, he just needs this. And he's like, no, give him more. So we gave him more time off and everything like that. We gave him time for his fiance, spouse now, to be able to go around and just enjoy Korea. I will tell you that guy right there to this day will do anything for me. When he was in Korea, he never complained about anything and he was 120% engaged all the time. And that is what is so important. Seek the evidence, ask the hard questions, and don't lead with your assumptions because generally your assumptions are incomplete and they're just going to destroy the interpersonal relationships that you have going on inside of your organization. So let me close this with this. Do you have a belief about someone inside of your organization that turned out to be absolutely wrong and made a mess of everything? I'm going to make another video about me, and there's already one out there. It's an hour long on how a whole entire organization made an assumption about me and never asked any clarifying questions, asking those hard questions, and everybody led with an assumption, and things went very, very bad, and they're still going bad today for the United States Army. So tell me what happened. Drop it in the comments. If you don't, go to my website, shoot me an email, send me a call, text message me. I'm here for you. Follow along on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays because Monday's all about the no. Friday or Wednesday, today's all about that B. Friday's all about execution. I look forward to seeing you.